The Little Mermaid, the brave mermaid's adventure. In a vibrant underwater city, where glowing coral homes twinkled and friendly sea creatures lived, there was a young mermaid named the Little Mermaid. She was a 7-year-old mermaid with shimmering green scales, bright blue eyes, and a bubbly personality. She loved to sing and wore a crown made of seashells. But there was one thing that troubled her. The Little Mermaid had a big fear of monsters. One sunny day, the Little Mermaid swam around her favorite coral reef, singing a lovely tune. Her best friend Bubbles, the playful dolphin with sparkling silver skin and big curious eyes, swam up to her. "What's wrong, the Little Mermaid?" Bubbles asked in his squeaky voice. The Little Mermaid sighed. "I keep having bad dreams about scary monsters," she said. "They make me so scared, Bubbles." Bubbles did a playful flip in the water. "Monsters are just pretend, the Little Mermaid. You are safe here. Let's go on an adventure to take your mind off things." The Little Mermaid smiled and agreed. They swam off together, exploring the colorful underwater world. They passed schools of fish, swaying seaweed, and even a bustling marketplace where mermaids and mermen traded shiny shells and pearls. The sights and sounds of the marketplace filled the Little Mermaid with wonder and excitement, pushing away her fears for a moment. As they swam, the Little Mermaid and Bubbles heard a loud splash. They turned to see a ship above, caught in a terrible storm. The Little Mermaid's eyes widened when she saw a young human prince thrown overboard. Without thinking, she raced to save him, pulling him to the shore. She looked at him with wonder and felt her heart flutter. "I wish I could talk to him," she thought. The next morning, the Little Mermaid sat on a rock, thinking about the prince. She felt a mix of curiosity and worry. She swam to her father, King Oceano, and said, "Father, I want to meet the human prince again." King Oceano frowned. "Humans are dangerous, the Little Mermaid. You must stay away." "But father, he seemed so kind and gentle. I just want to understand their world," the Little Mermaid insisted. King Oceano sighed. "Very well, but promise me you'll be careful." The Little Mermaid nodded eagerly. She swam off, remembering the wise words Bubbles had shared. "I can be brave in the dark." The next day, the Little Mermaid heard tales of Morwenna, the sea witch, who could grant wishes. The Little Mermaid and Bubbles swam to Morwenna's lair, a dark and eerie cave filled with glowing sea plants. "Be careful," Bubbles whispered. Inside, Morwenna, with her long tentacles and gleaming eyes, smiled at the Little Mermaid. "What brings you here, Little Mermaid?" The Little Mermaid took a deep breath. "I want to be human so I can meet the prince." Morwenna's eyes sparkled. "I can grant that wish, but you must give me your voice." The Little Mermaid hesitated, but she felt determined. "All right," she agreed, and with a wave of Morwenna's tentacle, the Little Mermaid's voice was taken, and she grew human legs. "Remember," Morwenna warned, "you have 3 days to get true love's kiss, or you will turn back into a mermaid and belong to me." The Little Mermaid nodded and swam to the shore, where Bubbles helped her up. She found the prince, Prince John, who was amazed to see her. Although she couldn't speak, they spent wonderful days together, exploring the land and playing by the sea. The Little Mermaid marveled at the wonders of the human world, her fears slowly being replaced by excitement and joy. On the second day, the Little Mermaid and Prince John came across a friendly old wizard named Merrick. Merrick, who had a long white beard and twinkling eyes, smiled at them. "You seem troubled, young lady," he said, noticing the Little Mermaid's worried expression. The Little Mermaid pointed to her mouth and then to Prince John, trying to explain without words. Merrick understood and offered a small vial of monster spray, a magical potion that would help chase away her fears. "Just a few drops, and you'll feel safe," he said. The little mermaid felt hopeful as she took the vial. She sprayed a bit around her, and a warm, glowing light surrounded her. "I feel safe in my room," she thought, remembering the wise words Bubbles shared earlier. But trouble was brewing. Morwenna, disguised as a beautiful woman named Vanessa, used the Little Mermaid's voice to enchant Prince John. The Little Mermaid felt her heart sink as Prince John seemed to forget about her. Gulliver, the seagull, discovered Vanessa's true identity and rushed to the Little Mermaid. "It's Morwenna in disguise. We need to stop her," he squawked. The Little Mermaid, with Bubbles and Gulliver's help, confronted Vanessa. The sea creatures created a commotion, and Vanessa's necklace, which contained the Little Mermaid's voice, broke. The Little Mermaid's voice was restored, and Prince John snapped out of the enchantment. However, Morwenna was furious. She grew into a giant octopus, creating a stormy whirlpool. King Oceano arrived, and to save the Little Mermaid, sacrificed his power, becoming a shriveled creature while Morwenna gained control of the seas. Prince John, determined to save the Little Mermaid, jumped on a ship. "Hold on tight, the Little Mermaid," he shouted as he steered the ship towards Morwenna. With a brave thrust, he steered the ship directly towards Morwenna, causing her to lose her hold on the ocean's power, and she shrank back into her original form, powerless. King Oceano, seeing the Little Mermaid's love for Prince John, used his magic to turn her into a human permanently. The transformation was slow and magical, with shimmering lights surrounding the Little Mermaid as her tail disappeared, replaced by legs. The Little Mermaid and Prince John were overjoyed and decided to marry. The celebration was a grand affair, with both land and sea creatures joining in the festivities. Colorful fish danced in the waves, and seagulls sang from the skies. The underwater city sparkled with lights as mermaids and mermen cheered for the happy couple. As the party continued, the Little Mermaid noticed a shadow in the corner of her room. She felt a familiar twinge of fear, but remembered the wise words, "Brave dreams chase away any scary thoughts." She took a deep breath and approached the shadow, only to find it was just a pile of clothes. "I have the power to control my imagination," the Little Mermaid thought, feeling a surge of confidence. She realized that monsters were just pretend, and she was braver than she ever knew. The Little Mermaid's fear of monsters started to fade, and she felt stronger. She smiled at Bubbles, who was happily splashing around. "Thank you, Bubbles," she said. "You've always been there for me." Bubbles squeaked with joy. "You did it, the Little Mermaid! You are so brave!" The Little Mermaid nodded, feeling a sense of pride. She knew that with her friends by her side, and the wise words they shared, she could face any fear. And so, the Little Mermaid and Prince John lived happily ever after, with the Little Mermaid's heart full of courage, understanding that true bravery comes from within and that friendly creatures watch over her always.